Good evening, Carolina. Coming up tonight, an investment into the Vista, a historic deal for a Gamecock legend, and a local music festival happening this weekend. All that and more tonight on Student News at 7.
Live from the Kennedy Greenhouse Studio.
This is Student News at 7.
Good evening, Carolina. I'm Gabrielle Cassini.
And I'm Lily Kate Snyder, here to give you the latest in news.
Having a little one who's homesick can be tough for working parents. Now, there's a new option to make getting care a lot easier. The South Carolina Pediatric Alliance is launching a new after-hours clinic to help Midlands families across additional care.
The Turtle Twilight Pediatric Clinic opened this Monday, April 13th in Columbia, offering walk-in care Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Leaders say the extended hours will reduce missed school and work while giving parents more flexibility.
The clinic is now on Marshall Street and no appointments are needed. For details, call 803-252-1801.
Republican candidates running for South Carolina governor are reporting strong fundraising numbers as primary day approaches. Attorney General Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette are currently leading the Republican field, each raising more than $1 million so far this campaign season.
New finance reports filed with the South Carolina Ethics Commission show that Wilson has raised slightly more than Evette during the first quarter of 2026, keeping the two candidates close in donor support. Other candidates are trailing behind in fundraising. Congresswoman Nancy Mace reported raising about $564,000 last quarter and has nearly $800,000 in cash on hand.
While Congressman Ralph Norman has relied heavily on personal funding, investing about $1.5 million of his own money into his campaign, businessman Ron Reddy has also self-funded his run, investing $2 million since entering the race in March. With less than 2 months until primary day, candidates are continuing to ramp up fundraising efforts across the state.
Columbia's Vista District is mixing history with big investment. Now, new numbers show just how much growth is happening. Nearly $500 million has been invested in the neighborhood, with more than $200 million in projects completed since 2020, and another $240 million underway.
The Vista, once a warehouse district, has transformed into one of Columbia's fastest growing destinations, adding new shops, hotels, restaurants, and places to live.
Lily Kate, how do you feel about the new renovations in the Vista?
I'm so excited. I feel like I have kind of exhausted the restaurant scene in Columbia, so I'm excited for some new things to do.
I'll have to agree. Vista, they have to have some new shops in
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
Well, speaking of development, Capital City Stadium in Columbia has sat empty for over a decade, but city leaders say that soon could change. Mayor Daniel Rickman says the city is currently negotiating with new developers to bring new life to the stadium.
The stadium closed 12 years ago, and since then, the property has remained completely vacant. The city began talks last year with developer FHNC Holdings, and the mayor says a deal could be finalized within the next 30 days. He also says groundbreaking could happen within a year if the agreement moves forward.
Neighbors in the Olympia Mills area say they are ready to see progress and that the abandoned property makes the neighborhood feel run down. Over the years, the site has been considered for several projects, including apartments, grocery stores, and entertainment space. City leaders say they remain hopeful that the long vacant site will finally see development in the near future.
A new law in South Carolina will soon require public schools to be better prepared for cardiac emergencies. The Smart Heart Act, signed by Governor Henry McMaster, mandates that every school creates a cardiac response plan, have trained response teams, and hold emergency drills similar to fire drills.
Schools will also be required to have AEDs available at all athletic events, even if those events take place off campus. Supporters say the law addresses a long-standing gap in school safety, as thousands of children experience cardiac arrest each year in the U.S.
The law takes effect July 1st and will be full force by the 2027-28 school year. Coming up after the break, a heartwarming tradition in college softball. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dorian Pinkson.
And I'm Carson Batten, here to bring you the latest in sports. The women's NCAA tournament may have come to an end, but the excitement is far from over as 3 of Dawn Staley's senior players were selected to go pro in this year's WNBA draft. On Monday night, Gamecocks Raven Johnson, Tanaya Latson, and Medina Akot were all drafted within the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Following an exciting season in which she was named the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and hit 1,000 career points, Raven Johnson was this year's 10th overall pick and hopes to continue her hot streak playing professionally for the Indiana Fever. Raven will also be joining former Gamecock Aaliyah Boston on the Fever. Not far behind, power center Medina Akot was 13th overall pick and was drafted by the Atlanta Dream after just 1 season as a Gamecock.
As the second round began, Florida State transfer Tanaya Latson was still waiting for her name to be called, but not for long. After spending last season in South Carolina, Latson was selected with the 5th pick of the second round, where she'll be headed to the West Coast to play for the LA Sparks.
This year's draft was bittersweet for all of the Gamecock fans here in Columbia, but these girls were always pros, and they are wishing them luck in the WNBA. Speaking of WNBA, one of the most decorated players in the league's history has just added another impressive line to her resume. Former Gamecock legend A'ja Wilson was just signed the largest deal in WNBA history. Wilson re-signed with the Las Vegas Aces to establish a 3-year, $5 million Supermax deal. This comes after making $250,000 in the 2025 season. After another historic season with the Aces, averaging 23.4 points, 2.3 blocks, and receiving her 4th MVP award, Wilson continues to set the standard as the most dominant two-way force in the game today. At her time with South Carolina, Wilson became a 3-time All-American and helped catapult the women's basketball program to its first ever national championship in 2017.
This past weekend, South Carolina softball hosted the annual All for Alex game, played in memory of Alex Wilcox. Alex was a member of Mississippi State in the 2018 season, but unfortunately lost her life to ovarian cancer the following summer.
Once a year, teams within the SEC band together, brandishing teal accessories such as visors and hair ties to celebrate Wilcox's life and her impact on the sport, as well as the universal fight against the disease itself. The Gamecocks hosted the number 6 Florida Gators in a 3-game series this weekend, with Saturday's game marking the tradition.
Thanks to back-to-back hits to the left center by Tori Ensley and Quincy Lilio in the first 2 innings, South Carolina began the game with a 2-0 lead, but the Gators came back with a bite. Within the next 3 innings, Florida ran home a whopping 15 times, blowing out the Gamecocks with a final score of 15-2.
The Gamecocks suffered another loss on Sunday with a final score of 1-6 that secured another series win for the Gators, who have won a total of 40 games this season. Despite a disappointing loss here in Columbia, both teams united as one to recognize the memory of Alex Wilcox, and the continuation of their tradition will make sure she continues to stay in both the minds and hearts of softball fans everywhere. Number 18 beach volleyball held its senior day this past Saturday against Stetson, and South Carolina made it a night to remember with a day filled with fight and comebacks. The team recognized 7 Gamecocks, including V.B. Trost, Sadie Nelson, Jolie Cranford, Morgan Downs, Peyton Yamagata, Juju Quintero, and Rachel Hartman. After dropping the opening set, Carolina rallied 3 separate times in the second match.
Brooke Bailu and Rachel Hartman started the comeback on court 2, where they picked up critical points for a 3-set win. Following with a recovery of their own, Evie Ziffler and Lauren Lawson turned a first-set loss into another 3-set victory. And with the match on the line, it all came down to Morgan Downs and Amelia Taft on court 5. After falling in the first set, the pair responded with 2 strong sets to clinch the win for South Carolina 17-21, 21-17, and 15-10. The match against Stetson marks the end of the regular season, but the Gamecocks will see the Hatters again soon as they head to Florida for the Dayland Cup, an annual collegiate beach volleyball tradition hosted by the Hatters.
Children with disabilities can be athletes too. That message was at the center of the 8th annual Gamecock Games, an event that brought together USC student athletes and local children for a day focused on inclusion and connection. USC's Student Advisory Committee partnered with the Therapy Place, a pediatric clinic in Columbia, to create activities designed for children who may not be able to participate in traditional sports. The games gave local children the chance to spend time with their heroes, allowing them to simply be kids despite their physical differences.
And while the kids enjoyed their time playing outside with the Gamecocks, they weren't the only ones who benefited from the experience. In an interview with WIS, track and field student athlete David Wormington says he was grateful to be able to put a smile on children's faces and offer them a little joy in their lives. The event is held every year around National Student Athlete Day as a way to recognize the role student athletes can play both on and off the field.
Coming up after the break, new American Girl dolls are going old school. Stay with us.
Welcome back, Carolina. I'm Mary Smithnosky.
And I'm Zoey Pippin. Now it's time for an update on the exciting news at USC.
Although the 2026 Winter Olympics ended almost 2 months ago, the American skaters are keeping the show alive and coming to South Carolina. According to the Greenville Journal, the U.S. Olympic skating team is going on tour across the nation through April and May, including a stop in Greenville later this month. The Olympians to perform include Olympic gold medalists and newlyweds Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, the gold medalist quad god Ilya Malinin, and the women's singles Olympic champion Alisa Leo.
Not only are tickets available for the show, but for meet and greet passes to meet your favorite Olympians as well. The skaters take the ice at Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville on April 21st at 7 p.m. Both tickets are available on the Stifle Stars on Ice Tour website.
American Girl is re-releasing 8 of their historical character dolls in celebration of their 40th anniversary. The original dolls were created to each represent an era of American history and first released in 1986 by American Girl's founder, Pleasant Rowland. American Girl said that the relaunched dolls were designed to be as close as possible to the originals, including their signature outfits, accessories, and packaging.
Earlier this year, American Girl released their Modern Era collection, a modernized version of their historical figures. This launch was met with comments criticizing the Modern Era dolls, saying things like classic characters don't need to be in their modern era and they're classic for a reason, and y'all have committed a crime to these poor dolls. The historical collection, however, has been met with a more positive response, with many fans excited to see their beloved dolls making a reappearance. The dolls are currently available for pre-order on American Girl's website and are expected to be shipped to retail locations sometime this spring. A local businesswoman is showing the upside to Down syndrome with her handmade jewelry line, the Upside Down Collection. The idea sparked for creator Lucy Graham during her senior year at the Clemson Life program, where a job coach suggested she find an outlet for her creativity. Graham has been making her bracelets and necklaces since 2019 and has grown her passion into a business with customers spanning across the country.
She sells her pieces online at the Soda City Market and at local pop-ups. Graham says on her website that through this collection, she hopes to show support for those with special needs and demonstrate that all people can contribute and create in society.
Meeting Street Music Festival is happening this weekend, and you won't want to miss it.
This award-winning festival will feature 11 different bands performing on multiple stages over the course of Friday and Saturday. The festival kicks off on Friday at 6 p.m. with Charlotte singer Ryan Trotty, who describes his sound as what you'd get if Sam Hunt and Johnny Cash had a musical baby and made Eminem its godfather.
Saturday will feature South Carolina's own Brittany Turnipseed, who's affectionately known as the Southern Songbird. This event is free to the public.
Carolina Productions partnered with Iris, Individuals Respecting Identities and Sexualities, to host USC's 28th annual Birdcage Drag Show last night in the Russell House Ballroom. The event was met with controversy when popular account Libs of TikTok tagged USC and accused the school of using tax dollars to host and promote trash. U.S. Representative and Governor candidate Nancy Mace commented on the post, saying tax dollars should not go to schools and universities promoting nonsense.
The university then responded by saying the event was not sponsored by tax dollars and that student organizations are allowed to host whatever events they choose. The show itself features multiple drag queens in sequined outfits, dancing and lip-syncing to popular songs. During the performances, the queens move through the crowd, dancing and receiving cash tips from the students. Interestingly, the press was not allowed into the event. When Fox 57 reporters Cara Daniel arrived, she was denied entry, and even student reporters were not allowed to bring their cameras inside.
USC's Koger Center puts on countless performances inside the auditorium, but starting this weekend, they're bringing back free outdoor performances. Thanks to a $120,000 three-year music series grant from the Levitt Foundation, the 2026 Levitt Amp Columbia Music Series will feature concerts on the front lawn of the Koger Center, split between spring and early fall. Artists who perform this spring include River Shook, a country Americana artist, Sunny War, an LA-based folk punk musician, 5 Ohm, a Columbia-based rock band, and Carolyn Wonderland, a Texas blues woman.
According to the Post and Courier, the free spring concerts start this Saturday, April 18th, and continue every Saturday until May 9th. Local artists are set to open all the performances, which will each run from 5 to 7 p.m.
That's a wrap on the entertainment news for tonight. After the break, we'll return to finish up tonight's news. Stay with us.
That wraps up tonight's edition of Student News at 7. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at SGTV at USC. To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtv@usc.com. For SGTV, I'm Dorian Pinkson, and from all of us here at the Kennedy Greenhouse Studio, have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.